We are live. All right. Good afternoon. Welcome to the 23rd edition of Chamber Talk with Torrie. It is a video podcast sponsored by the Boardman Chamber of Commerce. We're excited today to have Brandon Hammond. He's the city manager of Boardman with me, and we have a lot of things to discuss, but our main topic today is going to be your strategic plan survey you have going on. So welcome. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. I am so excited to be here. It's my favorite thing.
We're pulling him out of his comfort zone and going into something different, right?
Yes, very.
You know, I've had lots of people join me on this chamber talk, and the exact same thing when you are is like, oh, I'm dreading this. And when they get done, they're like, well, that was really easy. So it's not as bad as you think it is. We're just sitting here having a conversation and talking about what the city of Boardman's doing. So let's just kind of start with, let them know, let's learn a little bit more about you and yourself and how you got to become the city manager of Boardman and kind of what that travel roads, how that worked out for you.
Sure. So it all started, we were here for 7 years, Morrow County School District. Started at the high school as the assistant principal. I was there for 2 years, and then I went to Windy River for 3 years and San Boardman for 2 years. So that got me introduced to the city of Boardman, and then I believe almost the entire time that I worked here, I was on city council.
Oh, okay.
So my history is that we left for a couple years, and it was funny because it kind of came out of the blue. I was messaging Chief Stocco because they had just hired a new city manager, and I said, hey, I was looking for a change, a different opportunity, and I said, hey, Chief, if it doesn't quite work out with the city manager, let me know what I can do. And it just so happened that the city manager pulled their name out, and so they had to reapply.
So you applied.
So I applied.
And you went through the process, and here you sit.
Yeah.
So you did. So you had administration background, and then you
Yep.
sat on the council, and then moving in. So becoming a council to the city manager, what's that transition look like for you?
Having more knowledge about things, that's definitely, and more on the inside. But the one thing, it's being connected to the city has always been there. I think the transition really hasn't been that difficult because our family really has enjoyed Boardman.
Yep.
And being involved with that, and especially getting to participate in the changes and the growth, I love that.
Right.
I love that aspect.
So now being city manager, what's your relationship with your counselor as being a counselor? Kind of how's that? Has that affected how you manage your city and stuff?
Yep, it is. One thing that I have really worked hard at is making sure that the council knows what's going on. We have regular communications. We have lots of dialogue, a lot of input. And that was something that I definitely appreciated as a council, and even as a building principal, just that communication. I was superintendent for a couple of years in Arlington, so working with the board is very critical, especially in the communication. Everyone needs to be on the same page, making sure we're all heading the same direction.
Right. And since you've come in as city manager, you've expanded your staff at the city of Boardman, and that's exciting. And you opened the new planning department building.
Yep. And I think it just shows with growth. There is a lot going on in the city.
There is.
And it just has been in the in the periphery, in the backdrop for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Several years and years of this growth, and it really is coming to a head right now.
Right.
Making sure that you have the staff. We had a visit from the EPA, and it was very unique visit. I talked to colleagues, and they said they'd never had anyone from the EPA, the federal agency, come, especially to a city our size.
Yeah.
And one thing that they mentioned is the things that we're asked to do as a city that we were understaffed. So, and that really helped too, because we then were able to approach the council when we did the budget to say, hey, we do need more staff, and we were able to hire more to handle all the things that are going on in the city.
And there is a lot. So we're going to kind of dive into that right now.
Yes.
So kind of our main topic today is talking about your strategic plan survey you currently have going on. What's the purpose behind that plan?
So it ultimately comes down to what do we collectively as a community, as a 5,000 strong community, what do we see as a need for in Boardman? I think for a lot of years we have talked about it. I mean, we've always known, oh, we need houses. And then they say, well, we need amenities.
Right.
And are we going to get amenities or are we going to get housing? And it always goes back and forth. But there really are some good ideas of what we need. And the strategic plan simply fleshes that out. How can we get everyone's input as much as we possibly can for ideas? And that's, so the strategic plan is broken down. I don't know how many questions there are, but it really is asking, hey, what do you see is going well? What do we need to work on? What do you wish we had? That's the whole purpose, get input.
Okay. And in that strategic plan, so there's a lot of work being done behind the scenes. So there's different committees. Are those committees going to be part of that strategic plan results?
Yep.
So what are those committees?
Yep. So right now we are, and our planning director, planning official, is not very happy with all the stuff that I've asked her to do. But we have, so currently we have a Parks Master Plan.
Yep.
In process, and that is a committee. I think the committee just met for the first time last week.
Yeah.
We have...
And that discussion in regards to what? Like, what's that?
Oh,
what are you going to achieve out of that?
Yep. So in the Parks Master Plan, they literally will go and assess all of the values. We're collaborating with the Park District. So they'll evaluate their properties, they'll evaluate our properties, and then see, okay, future-wise, where should we have more parks? And then with our current parks, what kind of, facilities, what do we need at those parks? So this committee, and it was really neat, I listened in on a few of the discussions, and it really was very open, very broad mix of members, and they just talked about what they would like to see. And it was a really good discussion. I don't know time frame how long that goes. I think the process will take 9 months to get an end product. But yeah, the discussion is great. So that's one committee. Another committee that has been going on, it's a transportation system plan. That's through ODOT. And that committee is really looking at just a very 30,000 foot level of the transportation, and you're on that committee, right? And it just talks about, okay, long term, what do we do? Roads, improvements.
How do we plan? How do we make Boardman more usable?
And accessible.
And on all means of it, like first responder, walking, biking, driving.
And that is
all sorts of transportation.
Yes. That's very in-depth.
That's a very long project.
So that's the second one. And then we are just starting an economic opportunity analysis, which kind of looks at the business side of the community, what business opportunities are there, what is being underutilized, where can we capitalize on it. And again, it will be through a committee. And then the last one, which has not started, but we do have a contractor, is the development code update and comprehensive plan. So within a city, the comprehensive plan is everything. It's a
master plan.
It is, yes. It has everything connected. And we'll have a committee with that. So you'll have these 4 plans that we're working on, and they will be under this umbrella of the strategic master plan that will kind of feed everything.
Right, and because the current one you're operating on is from 2020, correct?
Yeah, the current
master plan.
There really has not. I don't know if there's been a current, like a comp plan, maybe, in the 2020, but I don't know if there's
but never at this level.
Never at this level.
Right. And I think it's just shows the growth that Boardman has, and I mean, there's a chance we could double our population in, I say 5 years. People think it's going to be sooner. I would 5 is more realistic, and I think we need to plan for that, because you go to some cities and you're like, why did they build this road this way?
Oh, exactly.
So we got to keep ourselves from becoming that city or getting on and off the freeway. You think the traffic's bad on and off the freeway now? Wait till you double that.
Exactly. And it's interesting. So during my time as a council member, I mean, Karen was amazing at that.
Mm-hmm.
Like our water distribution ability and what she has done with like the sewer and septic and what we're able to do, like we are able to run a Portland-sized city. Like we have that water, we have those abilities to do that, and she created that, and now we're just building on the foundation.
Yeah.
And like you said, it is a long term, and sometimes those are uncomfortable. I think those people who are on Northwest Columbia, I apologize.
Again.
Yeah. But again, it just comes with that growth. And looking at the latest thing has been, you know, on Boardman, on Main Street and Boardman Avenue. And there's been a great deal of talk about whether we need a stoplight or not. And there really was some high and fervent discussion around that. But it comes to a point like, okay, what is Boardman going to look like 5-10 years from now, and what do we need to do now in order to help that growth and
and get everybody on the same plan.
Exactly.
Yeah. So with the survey, like you kind of touched on it briefly, so let's just go through the survey a little bit so people know what they're going to expect, because we love to hear this feedback. Like one of the questions is relationship. What is your relationship to Boardman? And that just, you're looking for, what's that for? Just.
Oh yeah, the connection. So, and I think there is some confusion, and I'm really glad you brought that up. So we want not just if you live in Boardman, but how are you connected? I work here. I have children that go here. My grandkids go here. Like, what is the connection? When we sent postcards, and it was to all of 97818.
Yep.
We've been in communication with all of the businesses, and maybe some of the employees don't work or reside in Boardman, but they certainly are connected to Boardman. So.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because as myself, I didn't think that you wanted my opinion on a survey within the city of Boardman, but that's true though. Each person has their own lens on how they see the city. So if you're a resident or just a commuter or whatever that is, so that's key. And you're asking how long people have lived in Boardman or around the area, and that just kind of gets the concept of a new lens or an old lens to their questions and their surveys.
It is, and it was interesting, the conversation we had with the company that's doing the planning, they really like to flesh out, and they will give us information like, okay, you got this much from people that have lived here for just a couple years.
Right.
You didn't get this much for people who have lived here for 20 or so years. But to really see like where is the group that we need to focus on to get some information about.
Yeah, that's perfect. And then you kind of move into some open-ended questions where this is really the opportunity for people to kind of just give their insight, and if they're long-winded, it's going to be a lot. What makes Boardman special and unique to me as the survey taker? That's the question you're looking for. Two things that Boardman, what are going well, and so you're just wanting to hear some thoughts on that.
Yeah. Like, what is the things like, hey, keep doing what you're doing here, and then it goes into the immediate, like, hey, what do we need to work on?
Right.
And again, you can never grow if all you're hearing is positive. And I think especially our current council really wants to have the input. They want to have people attend our monthly meetings. They want to have conversations. We cannot grow and improve if we're not hearing those areas that we need to grow and improve.
Right. Yeah. And then one of the last questions is things that I leave Boardman to do but wish I could do in town. I see. So the things you leave the area.
Correct.
So the amenities you want to see here compared,
tires, oil change, whatever.
You know, and it's funny, I've been working on economic development for the city of Boardman and stuff for a couple of years now, and people are like, oh, you need to bring more businesses. I'm like, okay, well, that takes rooftops. And so here we are, you know, which do you want? The houses or the amenities? And the amenities won't come until the houses come. The houses won't come until the amenities come. So now telling our story, and I think these kind of opportunities will give us those story lines also to have and bring in those amenities.
It is, and again, so when I first started, one of the very first things we did is a capital improvement plan, and it was a 5-year outlook of like, okay, the majority of our dollars needs to go here. We have these roads, we have these high-end purchases, and this strategic plan will then go, okay, Boardman, this is what our goal is for 20 years, and it will give the council very specific directions, like, okay, we really want to see, some kind of car, some kind of retail stores in this vicinity, and working towards this area for 5 years. And for the next, after we walk away with this plan, we should have very specific guidelines.
And that'll be nice to have. And then the last question in here is, of course, what types of housing do you feel Boardman needs? And that's the big question everybody wants.
Yep.
And I think all of us in these conversations at the level we are right now, where Boardman is on the cusp of growing, is what do people want to see? Do you want to see bigger? Do you want to see smaller tax lots where you don't have as much yard, or do you want to stay the way they are? And and I think we have a lot of discussion and opportunities to advance Boardman.
Correct.
In its own. I mean, the new trend now, and our age is getting lower and lower in Boardman of our residents. I don't know if the younger generation particularly wants a big yard and all that.
No.
They want low maintenance and be able to go and enjoy life and leave and not have to take care of that big yard. So.
Correct. Yes, it really is making a shift in some of the mentality, and I think amongst all of the discussion we've had within housing is like having a eclectic group. Like we do need to have pockets of high-end homes, and we do need to have the middle-income homes, and we need to have these areas where there's not a lot of yard to this.
Yeah, but we also have the aging population here too, and a assisted living home discussion has been a huge discussion on this area. But there's a lot of transition where the people don't want the standard house anymore with standard lot, but they would like a smaller house because they still are able to live on their own, but not as much square footage to take care of.
Correct. And I guess along with those housing, it's as a city, where can we step in and be able to help with those areas? Because there's been a lot of conversation. There continues to be daily, weekly, monthly check-ins where people come down to the city and talk to the planning and building and it's like, okay, how can we help that? Because you're right, you want from birth to the end of life.
Yeah, perfect. So moving into 2025, you guys have a road project coming.
Yep. So South Main and Oregon Trail Loop will be the next
Oregon Trail Loop
on the southwest. Yep, on the west side.
Yep.
So that will be the big project. We are going to hopefully have a community open forum.
Okay.
Hopefully January 14th will be, if the council approves that, but we'll be talking about that, having an opportunity for people to kind of see the general plans,
right.
Give some input. Again, you can only give so much input on a road, but do we want some grass space? Do we want trees, or do we want bushes? Is there a specific kind of land? We'll look at a couple different styles, but yes, that will be the next big project.
Next big project, perfect. And then some other plans are down the road a bit, and we can talk about that at another time. Yep. So if people want to learn a little bit more about the city of Boardman, they could go to... So
the best place to go is on our website. If you go to the community section and then the how do I, if we go under there, there's a way to sign up and get like a direct feed to all of these things. We send out everything about what's going on. We have a Facebook page. So yes, there's multiple ways that you can check it out.
Yep.
And you can always just talk to council. Like, please talk to council. Please come in and talk to me. No problem sharing.
And you have a new Facebook page.
Yep.
Not very many followers, but we can talk about it right now. It's the City of Boardman, Oregon. It has your guys' logo on it, so you can be start following their social media page. We tagged it actually in this video today to talk about and to add people and get people more interested in doing that. So So the survey link will be found in your comment section of this. The City of Boardman's website the link will be in there, as well with their social media page. So thank you guys. Thank you for this discussion. If you guys have any more questions, just reach out to us at the chamber, or you can call the City of Boardman as well, and they were more than willing to help you. And take that survey. Now that we know it's anybody in the area that could take the survey, we really want to see your comments and your responses back. It's for the long-range planning of Boardman, and it's very important. So Thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Chamber Talk with Torrie. And on that, have a happy holidays, and we will see you later.